So this video is going to be a little different in terms of its content. I'm not going to be talking specifically about PC Halo, more the Halo community as a whole, or well, I should say, the RuneScape community as a whole. And you may be wondering, why on earth am I talking about RuneScape when I'm a Halo channel? Well, for anybody on Discord who knows, I've been playing RuneScape a lot recently, particularly old-school RuneScape. And that's mainly because I've been away from my PC and I've been having to deal with my laptop, which is about as crap as laptops get, and old-school RuneScape is one of the few games it can actually run. But while I was playing this led me to realise that over the years, RuneScape has been through a community division very similar to what Halo is going through at the moment. And they took a rather interesting approach to this, and it's paid off really well. Now, the approach that Jagex took was to create old-school RuneScape. For those of you that don't know, it is a branch of RuneScape that mimics the feel and the look and the gameplay styles of RuneScape in its prime era, which was around 2007-2008, before the combat system changed and they started following trends that other MMOs were taking. Do you see a similarity here? I do. RuneScape back then started taking combat systems and other mechanics from MMOs of the time, World of Warcraft, Terra, that sort of thing. And Halo is currently doing something very similar, where it's taking the enhanced mobility, the aim down sights and that sort of thing that is popular in shooters at the moment. Now, needless to say, both communities didn't really appreciate this. The RuneScape community, or at least a chunk of it, was very, very outspoken against, as they called it, EOC, which was the main combat change and a lot of the new mechanics and skills that were added. And we can see the same here in the Halo community. The Halo community, or should I say a subset of the Halo community, is also very outspoken against the new changes, and they want classic Halo. Now, while neither of the two games, Old School RuneScape or RuneScape 3, have a higher population as they did back in the heyday, it's pretty clear to see that, at least at the moment, Old School RuneScape is at almost double the population of RuneScape 3 in terms of active players, at the time of recording, with Old School RuneScape having around 42,500-ish, and RuneScape 3 having 23,500-ish. So it's almost double. Is this representative of the population as a whole? No. There are times where RuneScape 3 has more players than Old School RuneScape, and vice versa. But there is still a really healthy population of players playing that nostalgic, classic experience. The experience that thousands upon thousands of people went out of their way to ask for and ask for and ask for, until they were finally given it. And of course this is something I'd like to see 343 or the Halo guys try, but the guys over at 343 seem a little more adamant that the way they are taking the game and the direction they are pushing it in is the direction that it should be going in. And while they have listened to their fans a lot recently with some of the Halo content and the art style change and things like that, I don't see them budging on a classic Halo experience in the same way that Jagex did. I mean, if they put a poll on the Halo website, the front page of the Halo website, big, bold, everyone can see it, and they drummed it up as much as possible, and they made a point of making sure everybody knew that this poll existed, not just a small Reddit poll, or not just a small Waypoint poll, a huge, community-wide poll. I would be really interested to see the results, because the RuneScape fans, at least, voted heavily in favour of the classic experience. And I think if the outreach was the same in terms of getting everybody on the internet to realise this poll is going on, I feel that the results in terms of Halo may go in a very similar way. Of course, I have nothing to really back this up. I haven't tried a poll or anything like that, though. If you guys think I should try a poll, let me know and I may end up setting something like that up. But with the way 343 are going and the way they are handling their community, I have specific qualms with some of the members that interact on Twitter from 343. Grimbrother1 being one of them. He's very short and very sharp with the community, and that's not a way I think the community should be interacted with. Sure, I understand that he gets a lot of shit on Twitter, but even still there needs to be an air of professionalism that just isn't there. though I may save this for another video. But I, for one, would be interested to see whether a poll like this would provide significant results. And I would also love to see 343 and developers of any Halo game, whether it be Halo Wars with Creative Assembly, or 343, or Saber Interactive, or whatever. I would love to see them implement a system where they take players' feedback and act on that with clear transparency so that people can see, okay, well, we all voted that we want classic Halo. The next Halo has maybe not even the mainline section, but maybe even a specifically built sandbox for it. Like how Warzone was built for Halo 5 to support microtransactions. Have a classic Halo sandbox that feels and plays and has maps specifically designed for the exact way that classic Halo is supposed to be played. I know this is a lot of development time and an awful lot of resources, but you can't just shut out the massive amount of fans that really, really want a classic Halo experience, but aren't getting it. Even if they did the poll, and the poll didn't do that well, then at least they know that they are doing things correctly, or things the way they feel it should be done. But I feel that the current polls that have been put out in very specific places to target very specific people. Like the big Halo Reddit poll, I didn't hear about until it had finished. I don't know where it got linked, I don't know how it got linked, I don't know who saw it, I don't know which communities they were pushing for. But we need some sort of poll that takes the overarching Halo community, people that aren't really in the community anymore, people that have played Halo, anybody on the internet that knows about or plays or has played or has heard mentioned Halo, should be able to vote in this poll that determines whether the new gameplay style is really the way forward. I've heard a lot from the pros at the moment saying that they are not a fan of the way the game plays. And if the people who are playing on the competitive level, the people who the developers are catering the game for, are unsatisfied, then I think a referendum should be in order. Maybe that's just me, who knows? What are your guys' thoughts on the RuneScape community versus the Halo community? Am I just clutching at straws here? Let me know in the comment section down below, and remember, stay classy.